In order to balance a half reaction, we need to follow a number of steps. So the first thing we want to do is balance any of the atoms other than hydrogen and oxygen. After that, we balance the oxygen atoms by adding the appropriate number of water molecules to either side of the reaction. Next, we want to balance the hydrogen atoms by adding hydrogen ions to the appropriate side of the reaction. And finally, we want to then balance the charge, and we do this by adding the appropriate number of electrons to the particular side of the reaction. So let's take a look at an example where we're going to balance the perchlorate ion changing into chlorine gas. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to first start by writing out my reaction. Then I'm going to balance the chlorine atoms by putting a 2 in front of the perchlorate ion. Then I want to balance the oxygens. I have 8 oxygens on the reactant side, so I'm going to add 8 water molecules to the product side. Then I'm going to balance my hydrogens, and I'm going to do that by adding 16 hydrogen ions on the reactant side to balance out the 16 hydrogens from the waters that I just added on the product side. Finally, I need to balance the overall charge. So I have 16 hydrogen ions and 2 perchlorate ions, which have negative charges. So that means I need to add 14 electrons on the reactant side to cancel out the overall charge. And I'm left with 14 electrons plus 16 hydrogen ions plus 2 perchlorate ions yields chlorine gas and 8 waters. To answer the final question, this is a reduction half reaction, and we can tell for 2 reasons. First of all, the balanced half reaction shows that there are electrons on the reactant side, meaning that we have gained electrons. Gain of electrons is reduction. Secondly, we can tell by actually monitoring the oxidation states of each atom. And we can see that the chlorine in the perchlorate ion has an oxidation state of +7, whereas chlorine in its elemental form has an oxidation state of 0. So the chlorine has gone from +7 to 0, meaning it has been reduced. So this is a reduction half reaction.